Hey, welcome to the 6th floor at Gusto. This is what it looks like on a map, but we're not gonna use this. We're just gonna walk around and see what we find, okay? Okay. This place is very secure. I have to badge in. If you don't have a badge, you're not allowed in. Without me, or maybe someone else. As you may have heard, we don't wear shoes at Gusto, and so this is where our shoes go when we're not wearing them. You probably just got a shot of my feet with shoes on, but don't worry, they're actually slippers. So I am in compliance with the no shoe policy. Hey look, it's summer camp, one of the other conference rooms. Everybody loves summer camp. I mean, I went to summer camp, not like the summer-long summer camp, but like, 3 nights, 4 nights. The very first time I went to summer camp though, I got really sick. I threw up a lot. I was kind of nervous, homesick, not a great memory. There's people working, so we have to be very quiet. This is the wood shop, and there's no one in there currently. It's a very nice looking room, the wood shop. Let's keep going. It's hot, but it's good, it's good. Shall we keep moving? Let's keep moving. Everybody, this is the drive-in. Yeah, we train our staff in here. They learn things about payroll, benefits, HR, all into serving small businesses. And they probably have coffee while they're learning that stuff. Laundromat, but we don't do Gusto employees laundry. They don't get laundry service here. There's some nice perks here, learning the coffee, but we don't do anybody's laundry. No, we're all adults. If you are a Gusto employee and you need a keyboard or a mouse, all you gotta do, take your little badge here, scan, voila. I don't need one, I have one, I'm all set, I'm all good here. But this is how it happens. So that's pretty neat. What does it mean? If it were up to me, if I were in charge, the Cat Cafe would have cats. But there are no cats in the Cat Cafe. So, it's still my favorite conference room. But anyway, I'll give a shout out to the Denver Cat Cafe, which is an actual cat cafe and a small business. I have no idea if they're a Gusto customer though. But they should be, so Denver Cat Cafe people, if you're out there and you want, some payroll, let us know. We can hook you up with that. People are working hard out there. Unlike some people who will remain nameless. Okay, so that's our new floor in Denver, floor 6. Welcome to it. That's it for our little tour. Enjoy the rest of LinkedIn Live. It'll be a great show. Thanks, bye.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm Will Lopez, joined with Caleb Newquist, who has fame, acclaim, and his weekly newsletter is totally not lame, which means you should sign up. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you are on the margins. Caleb, happy Tuesday. I have a question for you.
I'm ready.
When you were an active CPA, did you have any kind of OCD for CPE? Because I figure at our old age, CPE stands more like for candle potpourri extraordinaire at this point.
Did I have any OCD for CPE? I think no. I think I probably had more of a like nervous breakdown for CPE. Like you get to that last week of the year and you're just like, oh, I'm just 30 hours short and there's 5 days to go left in the year. So this is what I'm going to spend the rest of the year doing is sitting in CPE, doing self-study or whatever. So yeah, no, not OCD. Yeah, definitely more like nervous breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's really interesting is how real the mad dash is at the end of the year. And I'd love to say like the mad dash is just spending a few hours in front of some CPE, but no, it's like 30 credits, 40 credits, 50 credits in certain cases. And it really is stressful. Like people are like put it off to the very end and then they're spending an entire weekend trying to get in front of it.
Yeah, I think, I worked at a big firm for a while, and small firm, big firm, wherever you work, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. I think one of the main advantages to working at a big firm is once a year, at least once a year, they fly you off to some far-flung location and put you in a hotel, and you do a week of training and you get all your credits, and there's usually a swimming pool and usually the drinks are free, and it kind of gets out of hand, but your CPE gets done and you don't even have to think about it. So that was always kind of nice. That was always a big firm perk that I appreciated. But you're totally right. Like if you're not in that kind of a situation where you don't get jetted off somewhere, especially now, no one's getting jetted anywhere. But yeah, how do you get the 40 hours? I don't know. I don't know. I'm an inactive CPA. So this is a problem that I've, not had to deal with in a while. But Will, you're still active, right?
Actually, I'm not active either. So
you're not.
No,
wow.
I let it lapse.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations.
It feels good being on the other side. Not spending, a lot of time in front of CPE. What's also really good about those far-flung locations is, if you really get out of hand, you kind of don't even remember what you learned in CPE. So it kind of gets wiped away depending on how much excitement you have at these locations. But I just want to thank everybody who's joining us live. Thank you for watching. We have a really exciting show. Caleb and I are going to unpack for you today. Yes, it's about accounting education. Woo! I mean, accounting is already exciting enough. Now think about accounting education. But we're going to have two incredible people join us. One correspondent from Gusto, and Scott, the founder of CPA Academy, will be joining us here shortly. So Caleb, let's just dive into our first segment, a special report.
That music totally does it justice.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is serious. This is a serious conversation, clearly.
Yeah. So I would just like to start off, like, what, Will, when you were doing, since you've probably done CPE more recently than I have, like when you decided, oh, I need to hunker down and get some credits, like how did you think about it? Did you think, what did you look, did you kind of scour the CPE services for like the most interesting classes, or did you just do tax updates? Like how did you decide what kind of courses you were going to take?
Yeah, I think my strategy waffled year over year, depending on how burned out I felt. It was kind of like the college years. You would take the class of the underwater basket weaving. In this case, it would be like underwater abacus learning or something. So I would float from CPE to CPE just based on preference. I mean, sometimes I would take it really serious. I'm like, all right, I got to learn this piece of code or this reg or this new topic or iFirst. Remember when iFirst was like super popular?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it still is, but I'm like 10 years ago, it was like, the talk of the town kind
Right.
of thing, or learning the new codifications, because that's a word, believe it or not. I was
It
an
is.
auditor. But yeah, I think later in life, I just didn't take much of it serious and kind of wanted to check the boxes in the categories I had to,
Hmm.
but really go for stuff that I felt was really creative.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So do you have any memories of a creative course that you took at one time or another?
I actually don't.
Okay. I put you on the spot. I mean, I put you on the
Well, I
spot.
was
I
going to
admit
say
it.
that's just how not creative some of this stuff is.
Well, yeah, so that's interesting. So that's interesting. So like if I think about, so I've got a buddy who teaches CPE. He's a tax whiz, and he flies around the country again, not this year, but normally in a normal year, he flies around the country and he does tax update classes. And his classes are jam-packed, like just filled with professionals, practitioners, because so many of them rely on just getting trued up in, that's an accounting term, right?
Yep.
They have to get freshened up on just the latest in the tax law. And
Right.
so those classes are extremely popular, but they're popular out of a necessity, I
Right.
think.
You're being forced into it.
Yeah, yeah, just by the nature of the work that they do, but also that there's a compliance, there's a heavy compliance component to it. So I guess what I'm wondering is, do you think that's the norm? Like, do you think the majority of accountants, of CPAs out there, when it comes to, getting their CPE, is that kind of the path they take? They're just like, well, I need this so I stay fresh, and I can't really spend too much time with quote unquote electives, like stuff that might be interesting to me. It's like, oh, like the equivalent of the history of rock and roll for CPE courses, like those ones you kind of like, I'd like to take that, but I just really can't because I got to take Psych 101 to meet my, social sciences requirement, So that's kind of what I'm wondering is like, where do you think most CPAs, what path do they take?
I think it's going to be the path of least effort, I mean, in my honest opinion, I think a lot of professionals try to kill a lot of birds. Apologies to the bird lovers out there. A lot of birds at once. They'll say, if I'm gonna go check the box and I have to learn the latest and greatest on this tax reg or whatever I need to learn, I'm just going to like pull the band-aid off, get in front of that thing,
Right.
and just call it a day.
Yep.
I think a lot of pros would love some more modernized versions of those similar CPE sessions. And I think that would resonate a lot more than going out of your way to find things that are a little bit more unique. Because I mean, that's the only way you're going to gravitate towards sprucing up decades of CPE experience, right? And you got to kind of start with what is everyone going to, and then how do we start weaving in something a little better into the salad. It's because it's the same pasta dish from like 50 years ago.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I mean, we do, we're going to talk to Scott Zarrett later, but,
Yep.
My pal, Greg Kite, and I, we do webinars together, and, folks, they get CPE credit for them. And I mean, one of the approaches that like Greg and I have tried to do, or it's mostly Greg, like I don't do a ton of the work, let's be honest here. But what like Greg and I, we try to make, because of the kind of, I don't know, the kind of the nature of a lot of webinars, like Greg and I, we do our best to try to make something memorable or interesting, or we like the way we present the material. We try to do it in such a way that it's enjoyable for folks, because like you say, it is, people like ethics is a good example. Ethics is one of those requirements that everybody has to have. And so, and even the title that Greg came up with for this year's session is, it's, you have to take it. So, we, I don't even remember the title. I'm totally dropping the ball on this, but like,
It was that exciting.
It was that exciting. But it is, the purpose behind it is to make it enjoyable, to make it thought provoking, and just not just kind of a check the box thing. You really want people to take away, useful information, and how you present the material and what and the nature of the material is what really makes it interesting and memorable and useful. So yeah, so there are lots of good courses out there, but I think you're right. I think the majority of folks are just like, I need to get these credits, I need to learn this specific thing, and then I need to get some sleep because I'm not going to get any sleep from January to March, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what's also interesting is I think a lot of that is talked about in the profession. That is,
Mm.
the rigor that the profession goes through in order to keep its education current, right? But then also the staled approach towards it. And let's throw up this graph. But I went back and I did a little research about whether or not students in accounting have been taking accounting more and more over the years. And the AICPA actually has some really cool trends. And so this is the graph here, the trends in total enrollment of accounting degrees. Let me see if it's up in front of everybody. Yep. And here's 15, 16, 8, and 18. So AICPA does this trends report every other year. And you could tell from 14 and 15 to 15, 16, and then 17, 18, that year over year over year, total enrollment for the accounting education has been going down, 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 down. And I think there's a variety of reasons for this. One, the skill set gap between what the profession conventionally and traditionally teaches in academia and the reality of what you need to learn out in the field are just, they're like light years apart. And I think that is really speaking to a group of students who are saying maybe, accounting in its current form isn't really something I should consider, because I'm going to start out the gate already behind, and I'd rather probably do another degree. If we show the next visual here, what's really interesting, I'd love to get your feedback, and we'll have Jacqueline join us here pretty soon. But in the trends report, here's exactly what it says. It says, across the last two trend reports, we have experienced an approximate 30% decline in hiring of new accounting graduates. The marketplace continues to demand different competencies. And while accounting graduates are still being hired, firms are seeking other skill sets to expand services. And they are seeing, AICPA seeing the gap in skills required in the profession, especially as it relates to technology needs, and is being met with non-accounting graduates. So I think a lot of this is kind of like the word of mouth, what's happening to accounting. Is CPE even relevant anymore? Like, you're going to have us do all the CPE requirement, but I'm already behind the times. You're going to make me go further behind the times. Right. And so it's just really interesting to see the dynamic happening in the profession from literally students in school at universities and colleges, all the way to people like you and I have been in the industry for quite a long time.
Yeah. I look at that trends report when it comes out, and the number of accounting grads being hired, like that, seeing that decline has been interesting. And yeah, I think you're right. It speaks to the needs of firms, and like the needs around technology and the needs around other areas that are becoming more and more important. And I think, Will, correct me if I'm wrong, this might just be the time to just bring Jacqueline in.
Absolutely.
And talk about some of this stuff, because I think she's got a unique perspective. Jacqueline Anku is the head of partner community at Gusto. Jacqueline, hey, it's so nice to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what do you think of what we're talking about? Or what's your perspective on this issue? Like, you've been in accountant education, at Gusto and at Zero. So I know you think a lot about this. So we're keen to hear what you think.
I think that the way that accountants seek education, everyone, and it's not that CPE isn't relevant anymore, but it's that we need to evolve our thinking beyond needing technical skills. Like, CPE needs to be broader than that. It needs to reflect the profession's needs and people entering the profession and people growing their careers in the profession. So how do we evolve our thinking about the nature of accounting and then the education that supports the practitioners that are in it?
Yeah, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Jacqueline, because you're going to share an important announcement today. And in one of your pieces, you talk about you reference a particular stat, and I'll throw it up here, where 3,000 accounts globally were surveyed, and 62% of them agreed that today's accounting education and training is just not enough or even sufficient to really run a practice by 2030. And in your thoughts, you're thinking one way to really get ahead of this is to broaden the approach towards delivering CPE from just a merely technical aspect, but then also combining the technicality of that CPE requirement, then other variables as well to that to advance that professional skill set?
That's exactly right. I think that people aren't satisfied with education because it does center on technical skills. And when we think about the way that the accounting profession is evolving, it's largely driven by technology and technology automating workflows. And that enables practitioners to embrace advisory. And in order to embrace advisory, you need both the soft skills to deliver that advice to your clients. And if you're a firm owner, you need to know how to capture the value of that advice that your team's providing. So in order for education to keep up, yes, of course, practitioners need to know technical skills. Those are table stakes, but they also need to understand technology and build proficiency in that. They need to build up their soft skills so they can effectively communicate with clients. And they need to know how to run a successful advisory firm.
Yeah. So when you're talking about technology, you're not suggesting, because I know this has been kicked around for a while. It's like, should accountants become more adept in like data science or computer science or programming and things like that? Like, do you think that is part of the technical knowledge, or do you think it's more kind of, is it more tool based or understanding the platforms and how they work? I'm just curious as the technology bit, like, where do you see that going and like what's most useful?
Yeah, that's a really good call out because technology is such a broad term. And I think it can be kind of intimidating of like, oh, what does it mean that I have to build proficiency in technology? So I do think that there's a small subset of people that will likely do coding or do automation and be true, more technical technologists that help firms. But for the vast majority of practitioners, I would say that the education they need enables them to better use cloud-based platforms so that they can have the efficiencies, so that they can feel confident using the tools, and just providing tips and tricks for clients that make them look like the hero. So it's less about learning how to code per se, and more about building efficiency in the technology that you're using in your day-to-day.
Yeah, that's really stellar. And what I'd love to do is let's make our way and transition to get Scott on the show. And I think there's going to be some incredible news that we're going to share. And before we do that, though, if you're new to Gusto, I'd love to tell you a little bit more before we start transitioning over. So if you want to expand your advisory services and offer more value to your clients, Gusto is the people advisory platform of choice for modern accountants. It's powered by our people platform. So we make it easy for accountants and bookkeepers to onboard, pay, insure, and advise their hardworking clients and teams when it matters most. And better yet, you can become people advisory certified through the payroll industry's first ever advisory certification program. So you'll get great access to perks to help support your clients and grow your firm. So partner with Gusto today. Introduce your firm and clients to better people operations and more at gusto.com/get certified. That's gusto.com/get certified. We have some awesome news, and I don't want to steal the thunder, but Caleb, if you'd love to introduce Scott, because he's a friend of yours, a longtime friend of yours, right?
I mean, yeah, I've known Scott for a while. I think I don't remember what year we met officially, but yeah. Anyway, Scott is the founder and president of the largest provider of free CPE on the web
in the world.
Yeah, CPA Academy. So yeah, we're really excited to hear his perspective and thoughts on this kind of stuff. So Scott, welcome to the show. Do you remember the first time we met? I think I remember, but I just want to see if you remember.
Is it at ZeroCon?
I think that's right.
Upstairs. We were upstairs somewhere at like a happy hour, and there was a lot of noise in the background.
Was it Denver? But was it in Denver?
It was in San Francisco.
Oh, it was in the one at the pier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pier
Yeah.
27.
And then we got together in the Highlands when you were still living in the Highlands, right?
That's right. At a coffee
That's right.
shop.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Still
okay,
there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, look, good memory. All right. So Scott, you've been listening to us, and probably the gears are turning. So and you run this great business that provides CPE to folks. So like, you're the expert. So tell us, like, are we in the ballpark, or like, where do you see, how do you, I guess, let's start off with, like, how do you think most of the folks that attend the courses on CPA Academy, like, what are they looking for?
What are they looking for? Well, people are complex. It would be nice if we could just say, well, this profile of a person is just going to watch this class and we could predict it and send them those emails. But that's just not the nature of people. We got to give them more credit than that a person who takes that tax class that's required of them is also interested in a class on Excel or a personal development or a class on any number of things. There's 23 fields of study that NASBA has prescribed. And each one has got a subset of topics underneath it. So the amount of the supply of content is mostly endless. And so I think it's almost dangerous to lump people together, to assume that they only care about tax. If you're a tax practitioner, or you only care about accounting or auditing, if you're in auditing. And I think what we're finding is that, like you guys were saying earlier, back in the day when CPE really just felt like a checkbox, like I was taking classes from PwC on mineral rights in Uganda or something, and I didn't listen to the sessions. I just took it because it was free. Like, I just truly didn't care, because there wasn't a class that was out there on the cannabis laws and taxation. That would have been more interesting, but they didn't exist. They weren't free, or whatever you're interested in. It just wasn't, there wasn't a huge supply of it. And so I think it's important to give CPAs the benefit of the doubt that long learner and taking courses, and they don't necessarily just when they hit per year on average. And that a lot of the reason for the procrastination is because they just aren't finding classes throughout the year that may have been interesting. And I think that, fortunately, with the flattening of the world, and specifically because of the pandemic driving people online, that not only has the cost come down of courses to almost free, the quality has gone up, because the speakers that you're referring to, you and Greg and so many others, are available for free online, because Gusto is investing in education and basically subsidizing it for so many of these CPAs, that they're now able to find courses that truly are of interest to them. And even a small company like ours, I mean, where there's 10 employees, we have 3,000 classes a year. So why would you take a class that isn't of interest to you when you could take something that's right up your alley? So I think CPAs realize that the quality is there, that the cost is right, or the price is right. They end up taking classes much in the way that they watch television or they listen to podcasts. They do it because they like it. And the CPE is fortunately what's advanced the culture, because it's such a huge part of, we know this from day one when we get our CPA, you have to take it. I mean, you've got to be on the lookout for it. So I'm optimistic actually about the future of online education and education in general.
Well, I mean, we definitely see that with CPA Academy. I think, speaking on behalf of Gusto and Caleb, I mean, we've had such the great privilege of creating a ton of content that's very relevant to the profession through the CPA Academy platform. And we've been working so closely together over the years, which kind of leads us to just this great moment that I think, Gusto and CPA Academy has gotten itself into. And Jacqueline, I'd love for you to share with everyone what the latest and greatest is around even Gusto's People Advisory Certification and our partnership with CPA Academy.
Yeah, you got it. I've been waiting for this moment since we launched People Advisory Certification in July at Gusto Next, which is that as of yesterday, Monday, December 7th, we've partnered with CPA Academy to provide 4 CPE credits for practitioners who complete the program. So we're thrilled by the partnership, and we're thrilled that now people can technology and advisory. I'm going to make sure I didn't freeze.
You're good.
Oh, okay. Awesome. and payroll, benefits, HR, and also get the CPE that they need, particularly at year end. We know what a scramble this month is for folks.
That's awesome, Scott. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts just behind our partnership together. I mean, obviously, you and your company have been so pivotal in assisting what I would say is a cultural shift in accounting, and I think CPA Academy has been such a catalyst to being a forum for change by getting that kind of modern thought leadership out by way of CPE and accounting education. I mean, what are your thoughts on just the future of accounting when you look at something like people advisory certification and our partnership together?
Well, we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to offer CPE for the content that you provided, and can attest to the quality of the content that's been out there. And it only makes sense, in my view, that people who are taking your certification course would get credit for it. I mean, NASBA's definition of what qualifies is not that it's dry, which is what a lot of us thought the credentials have been. It actually turns out that it's just relevant to your career, and you're providing real content that's actually going to help people make the rubber hit the road. And so I think one thing we have to appreciate is that we're very fortunate in the accounting space that NASBA, who oversees the issuing of credit, allows for demos or for certifications to actually qualify for CPE. Because just as much as Jacqueline was saying, just like the technical content is critical, so is so are the efficiencies within your business. And it would be a disservice to CPAs if it was just an elective that they had to take sort of on their own free time. And so to be able to kill two birds with one stone, take those courses. And I'll say that your courses that you put together are not just, let's answer some polling questions and move on with our day. They're really designed to make sure that the output of the attendee is deserving of certification. And, that is, so we're not just trying to meet minimum standards, because NASBA makes it quite easy to earn a certificate. We all know how passive it can be, but you guys are going above and beyond and really taking care to make sure that the quality is there and that people are getting the credit that they deserve.
Jacqueline, so I have a question. So people can get 4 CPE credits. What fields of study does the 4 credits cover?
Sure. So 2 credits are for management services and 2 credits are for computer technology and app. Did I say that right, Scott? It's computer tech and app. I think that's right. Computer software and app.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So 2 for tech, 2 for management services. And that really sort of epitomizes the nature of the course as well, which is it's a very balanced course that delivers foundational knowledge on what you need to know about payroll, benefits, and HR. It delivers the technical training that you need on Gusto's people platform to feel confident using the technology. And it also teaches you how to step into an advisory mindset around people advisory so that you can better use payroll as an inroad to deliver richer services to your clients. And those are services that clients particularly need given the year that we've had.
I mean, Caleb, I'd love to have your thoughts on this, but what's really interesting for anybody who follows CAS or client accounting services, but CAS, and Scott, I'd love to also hear your thoughts on this. CAS is this blend of management service and technology, right? So like people advisory certification powered by CPA Academy, or the CPEs powered by CPA Academy, also emulates that strategy, right? It's 2 credits for computer software and app, 2 credits for management service, which in my opinion just screams CAS.
Yeah,
Question,
I think.
yeah.
Sorry, me first. I'll go first. Sorry. Yeah, I think what's been interesting, the client accounting services is something. Kind of the emergence of that has been really interesting to watch, and I think and it's a testament to I think the work that Jacqueline has done in terms of developing certification for Gusto is that it really kind of raised the bar in a way that I don't think we've seen before. And it really makes CAS, it deepens it, it deepens the area of study in such a way that is pretty unique. And so I think that's what's most exciting. I mean, obviously I have a bias, but I do think that it is a really exciting development in this area, because it seems to be fast changing, like the emergence of it. And now, you know, from the time that client accounting services has kind of become, I don't know if it's even a household name. I'd curious to hear what people think, if it's really widely that known. But to where we are with People Advisory launching just a few months ago, and now eligible for certification, I think it's a really exciting and just a testament to how dynamic it is.
And Scott, I mean, from your perspective, based on the 3,000 options that accountants have and CPAs have for CPA Academy, I mean, are you seeing accountants with this blend of tech and management services? Are you seeing accountants taking a lot of CPE that really focuses their expertise on tech and some sort of consultative framework to prepare for the future?
Well, again, I think you have to think about the demographics of those in attendance. If you're a small business owner, then certainly you can't avoid tech classes, right? You've got to understand the software in and out. But if you're, so you don't have the luxury of just taking technical classes all the time. You're not in the silo. You've got to be a jack of all trades. You know, I think that there are certain people that are very much attracted to the technology classes, to software demos even, you know, the types of people that we see when we go to these conferences. You know, when you go to a Scaling New Heights event, or you go to QuickBooks Connect, or many of these other events, you might walk away feeling like, gosh, tech is the future, and that's all anyone's talking about. That's what we care about. But there's a huge population of people just still at home avoiding those conferences that are just taking the accounting, auditing, and tax. So it's, you know, with 600 and something thousand CPAs out there, you know, different strokes for different folks. I mean, I would encourage any CPA out there to diversify the types of classes they take, so they don't end up just taking accounting and auditing and tax. And I think that this year, I think a lot of folks, unfortunately, were forced into taking classes on, or maybe fortunate, I don't know, I guess it depends how you look at it, but they were forced into working remotely, and then also needed to find a solution, and tech was the solution, right? So if you hadn't been making strides towards, you know, moving toward the cloud and working with software that speaks to each other, and now everyone's working from home, you're behind the eight ball. So I think that those who have a history of taking tech classes and being proactive with it were very much well positioned to be able to deal with the pandemic. And I think a lot of folks, especially in the beginning, were scrambling to even find the most basic tools, from whatever to Slack or Zoom, all the way up to, you know, QuickBooks and online and the rest in the ecosystem. So I'm optimistic in the future, because I think that people are unfortunately being forced into realizing that there's more than going, you know, to some remote location, as Caleb described, to take the same old. And that, you know, in order to survive, you know, basic survival is going to require understanding technology, like it or not. And I think that a lot of the software companies are benefiting because people are making these shifts. And I think the CPAs who adopt the technology, again, are going to be the ones that are going to be around in 2030, you know, the year 2030, or, you know, in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that really speaks to, you know, SmartVault recently did a study of the impact of COVID-19. Obviously said that, you know, COVID has been a forcing function for the profession, right? What we've seen happen in the past few months would have taken the profession probably 10 to 15 years to actually pull off. And those that were best positioned to be successful as a practice and really lean in and help their clients survive and thrive, or survive and recover, were those that were already in a position of a diversified skill set. Let's just call it like that. A diversified skill set that wasn't so fixated on the core tenets of the profession, but one that really was a interwoven experience of the tenets of the profession, right? Financials, tax, so on and so forth, but then a blending of understanding modern technology and the management and the soft skills that, as you mentioned, Jacqueline, associated to all of that.
Yeah. Really made for a tough year for so many who, you know, the technical skills still remain the most popular classes that we have. And then you throw in there the PPP loans, you throw in there all the, you know, all the changes that are going on. And now you've got to understand how to work remotely. You've got to understand the tech skills. It's nothing's being removed from the table, just things being added. It's tough. And so you've got to be really wise about how you spend your time, what you choose to learn, and make sure that you can trust the folks who you're learning it from.
Yep, absolutely. Jacqueline, if you could, as we wrap up, could you share with everyone how they could either find out more about People Advisory certification, what they need to know as far as like receiving their CPE certification, powered by CPA Academy and Scott's team?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not already a Gusto partner, People Advisory certification is free. To sign up for Gusto's partner program, which is also free, you can reach out to a partner representative on our team. First, go to our website. You can sign up there. A very knowledgeable representative will reach out to you and take you through the steps you need to sign up for our partner program and then take certification. If you're already a member of our partner program, all you need to do is go to your Gusto Pro dashboard. On the dashboard, on the right-hand panel, you'll see the Gusto Learn tile. Click on that and you'll be taken to our home for partner education where you can access the program. After completing the program, CPA Academy will provide your CPE certificate within 7 days of completion. So we've got you covered from start to finish.
Awesome. Scott, share with everyone how they could take more CPE outside of even People Advisory certification at CPA Academy.
Fine, I will. No pun intended. So yeah, cpaacademy.org. It's as simple as that. That's our domain, and all the content is out there for you to peruse. It's free to create an account, free to sign up for whatever you want, and earn credit. And Gusto has a prominent link up on our site, so you'll be able to find specifically the Gusto content as well. Although the certification is something that you'll need to get a link directly from Gusto to be able to enact.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, Jacqueline and Scott, for being on the show. This has been a great conversation. And everybody go check out CPA Academy. Go check out Gusto's new certification via CPA Academy. Thanks to you both.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Caleb, man, it's always exciting. It just dawned on me that the CPE is so reflective of the incredible work that Jacqueline and team has done of like really trying to enable the profession. And it's just really cool to see the proof in the CPE pudding to be like, wow, 2 credits for software skill set enabling and 2 credits for very modern management services. Right. And personally, I think when we first announced it, you and I said, this is history in the making. And it's really cool to see unpack via.
Did we say that? We said that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is history in the making.
Okay.
Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks everyone for joining the show. We are actually going to do a little moratorium, right, until January because of the holidays. We're taking a little time off. Hopefully, you take a little time off as well. Unplug. It's been a hectic year. So, yeah,
it's been something, huh? So today's edition of On the Margins was produced and written by Will Lopez and myself. Our co-producers are Andrea Garcia Vargas and Mohini Kundu. Video and sound production by Waylon Janowick and Rylan Harris. Graphic design by Paul Choi. Special thanks to Jacqueline Anku and Scott Zarrett for being our guests this week. I'm Caleb Newquist. Thanks so much for everyone for watching. And we'll see you in 2021.